Hi, this is George Sandman. I'm the founder and CEO of Growth Drive. Growth Drive is the #1 best-selling business advising platform, and this is our podcast, The Business Advisor Hot Seat. Now, in the hot seat, you're going to hear from industry leaders, thought leaders, your colleagues who are going to share tips, techniques, war stories about building a thriving advisory business based on delivering client wins. We're going to get into it. We'll get into it about the Growth Drive methodology, the Clarity software, what we see out in the world, so much more than just the system. And I'm also the author of The Growth Driving Advisor, which is based on over a decade of being an advisor to advisor, working with you and your colleagues, helping them build their practices, helping them through client engagements, and it's really proven strategies for leading businesses from stuck to best in class. Check it out. So strap in. We're going to light this up. Here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is an impromptu recording with my good friend and 2024 CPA of the Year.
Member of the Year.
About to be announced as a member of our board of advisors, Mike Garrison.
Thank you.
And Mike and I get along so well because we share a philosophy. And let's talk about this. What we're going to talk about today are those incredible professionals, CPAs, right?
Yes.
And what's happening in the CPA industry. And I am thrilled. And there in a future recording, I will have Christine Hollanden on. And Christine is as committed as we are in helping accounting firms expand their reach and relevance with business owning clients. And, we already work with a lot of CPAs, with former CPAs, et cetera. But this is we're at a really interesting time in history, right? And one in which I just read this morning, I just posted in the community, Mike, if you haven't had a chance to see it, that
Just read it.
That the AICPA and the NASBA have lowered the licensure, not radically, but they've lowered the licensure requirements for becoming a CPA. And this reflects, in part, the data suggests, waning interest in the profession, and which is a real shame because it is an honorable
and decreasing average salary.
Yes. Well, let's jump right in. Now, Mike, you are the expert on author of Can I Borrow Your Car, and you are the expert on referral-driven sales process. And I always emphasize process and on a cultural change within an organization. This is not simply a sales process. This is a cultural change within an organization. Now, can we have two conversations, Mike?
Yes.
By the way, we're doing this on the fly. Literally, Mike said, well, why don't we record something now? And I said, okay, cool. Here we are.
Let's do it, man.
So, Mike, I'll stop there. Welcome. Your perspective, now that I've taken 2.5 minutes of airtime.
So let's start here. You ready? CPAs. So I am a proud holder of the CPA designation. I'm also on the one of the faculty in the academy. One of the things we do at the Explain Institute, not Growth Drive, Explain Institute, is we poll business owners. And for CPAs, this is especially relevant. So in 2013, when we were asking business owners, and these are business owners that are going to be selling businesses, we asked them, who is your most trusted advisor? Account was number 1, financial advisor was number 5. 10 years later, financial advisor number 1, accountant number 3. And so I think what's especially relevant, being is it officially announced today? Board member?
Yeah, we'll put the announcement out today. Yeah.
So, I don't want to misappropriate my patron of the feast.
Hey, by the time this gets published, it'll be out there.
So, as a board member of Growth Drive, I have been passionate with George.
That's one way to, yep.
Yes, vehemently, aggressively, moderately, and appropriately passionate.
Choose violence, Mike.
These CPAs are such a critical part.
Yes.
Forget exit. They're such a critical part of the growth, and especially in the micro small business, which we know is the vast majority of business owners.
Yep.
And the vast majority of employees, right? Like that CPA role, it should concern everyone that they've slipped. I mean, it should really concern CPAs because it's your fault, right? It's totally your fault, right? Time to come out of the silo, right? Come down and walk among the peasants, right? But like that's big time. Like financial advisors are gone number one. And the reason is financial advisors do holistic financial planning, the ones that are working with business owners.
Yes.
And so they are perceived as providing advisory services. Unfortunately, except for a notable few CPAs that I encounter and work with, Carl Cox, anyone, right?
Yep.
You know, I'm thinking of Micah Frame, my guy, you've met him. Most CPAs are not providing advisory services. They're kind of like a bad investment advisor, not a financial advisor, but a bad investment advisor that's like, oh yeah, financial planning. Yeah, I throw that in with my my wrap fees for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? If you're not charging for it, you're not delivering it. Period. Like if you're bundling it because you can't sell, that means you're not an advisor.
Well, and what's interesting is, so I've been working with accounting firms for a long time, obviously my whole career, but I mean, working with accountants and accounting firms and made some great inroads.
So greater than 10 years, greater
than 10 years. And so 14, I have lost count. But here's the thing, you have accounting firms. The first thing they do is like, oh, we need to be more relevant to our clients. And so we are going to expand the service set. And I tell this story. I sat in the boardroom and with the managing partner of a household name firm, and I had worked very hard pre-AI, but I worked very, very hard to put together an entire presentation talking about how what my business was offering was relevant. It was directly relevant to uncovering opportunities for these services. And he just started laughing. He said, George, let me stop you right there. We don't actually do all that stuff very well. Before you start telling us you're going to bring us business, which we demonstrably would, he's like, we may not want it. And there are two ways to expand. And Mike, here's a great juicy segue for you. There are two ways to expand your reach and relevance with CEOs and business owning clients. What is the first one that comes to mind?
Cold calling.
Such a jerk. No, okay, not cold calling. Back of the class.
So it's endorsed referrals from other CEOs.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the tip of the tip of the tip. Below that are endorsed referrals from everyone else. But if you are looking at because here's the deal, right? You and I own companies. Do you suffer from a surfeit of unsolicited attempts to communicate, George?
I spend every morning cleaning out my inbox.
No, that's just the email. I'm talking about a cold call, you name it.
Man, we all do, right? We all do. Our phones ring off the hook and we keep answering. And no.
So I have a book coming up called Selling to Goldfish, right?
Okay. Right? Yes, you do.
And I've already reserved the URL. So
sellingtogoldfish.com. I love it. Right? It's instantly memorable. Yeah.
But the concept is like CEOs have reached a point within communication saturation.
Yeah.
That you have to be realistic. You have to be realistic about where and when you want to enter. So I'll give you this quote from Marcus Sheridan, Endless Customers. 80% of B2B and B2C decision makers.
Yeah.
No, 100% of B2B, B2C decision makers only proactively reach out for a salesperson or business developer, CPA speak, after 80% of the buying decisions made. And the only thing they want at that point is a conversation that is effective, meaning they are getting specific answers that they can't find anywhere else. Those answers are immediately relevant and they are able to make a quick decision. This is why CPAs are sliding.
Well, yeah. And so you just teased something out and I'm sitting here like hopping up and down. Those of you who are not watching this can see George getting amped up.
He was about to raise the hand on his own podcast.
Why? Okay. So now we have to ask gosh, this is why we get along so well.
Well, this is why
you just made the suggestion. So CEO referrals, I'm telling you that my accounting firm, that group, that team, hear me stress it, that team of professionals, accountants, you know what I'm talking about. Be a team. That team of professionals had a profound impact on my business. What we're really talking about is a business that is delivering services of a type and quality, a customer experience, a client experience of a quality that makes them evangelists, that makes the CPA firm, the accounting firm, I'm going to stop saying CPA firm because they're getting into some cool stuff. Irresistible.
You're going too high.
I'm going too high. Okay, let's go. Pull it down.
Let's pull it back. So let's talk. This is me. So I'm a best-selling author in referrals, and I am okay at this. So even if you don't like me, it doesn't matter. Like, it's about your success as an organization if you're the leader, period.
Yes.
So set your ego aside. Here's the deal. There's only 3 questions that need to be answered to grow a business and to run a business effectively. Why should I meet you? Why should I buy from you? Why should I refer you? Every aspect of the business, all 3 dimensions of growth, all things about creating cash flow, net profit, growth, and a transferable business.
Yeah.
Not a vacuous value, but transferable value. I don't know where I got that from. But anyways, all those things are answered by those 3 questions.
Yes.
This is the CPA firm. First, you have to have a conversion. As Marcus Schaefer said in one of his recent blogs, there's nothing that a horse and buggy business can learn from an automobile business that will save the horse and buggy business. Nothing. It's done. And so leader of a CPA firm or young, vibrant 20 to 40-year-old that's got some influence and thought, hear me. Everything has changed except for one thing. In a world where trust has to be verified, where Google search, AdWords, and all that stuff is dead, where cold email is basically dead, in that world, human to human introductions still win. Because that CEO, if you are worth meeting, your CEO clients, even your executive team, as we get down to like an effective executive leadership team. I don't know where I got that from either, senior leaders, right? But even your senior leadership team, even your freaking mailroom person, like we used to have mailroom. What am I talking about, George? I just betrayed 55 plus, didn't I? I said mailroom.
Big time.
Yeah. Anyways, everyone in your organization has the ability to do introductions, but those CEOs, you have to answer the following question. Is your CPA firm worth meeting when we are not actively buying or seeking a new relationship? Because if you have to wait until that business owner has already done 80% of the research on AI, which is happening every day, your chances of landing that deal are really small. And even worse, the amount of deals that your firm will have access to as an opportunity are going to be small as well. What you have to do is embrace the fact that we have got to be valuable to the CEO. Our firm, our CPA,
you and I are saying the same thing. Heck yes.
Our CPA firm must be like not evangelists, but we must first be seen as worth introducing. And if the only time you're worth introducing is when someone else asks me if I know a CPA, you're only getting 1/100th of 1% of the introductions that you deserve. Not that you could get. I'm just talking about the one you deserve if you do good work. You have to flip that. You have to go up to the top. You have to ask yourself this advisory question, like that really transparent answer. Hey, we're not that good at it. I get it. Fix that now. Fix that now.
And by the way, this firm did. And we ran a lot of great workshops on site and over Zoom, and it was fantastic.
I have one prescription. You ready? And I'm going to give you 2 roads diverged in a wood, right? This is that moment. Like, if you want to stay horse and buggy, you can read some books. You can think about it. You can have a couple of internal focus groups. God bless you. I hope that I've invested in a PE firm that's going to buy you, going to get massive arbitrage and roll it up for a nice multiple. I hope, George, you and I get it
every day, right?
Yeah. But the other way to go, okay, is to take one person on your senior leadership team and send them through C.
And I thoroughly agree, Mike. And let's talk about why in a sec. But I would argue this. It sounds
like
to ask 2 of your senior professionals. Don't kick this can down the hall.
Just
2
really.
senior, because we need a team. You need to have someone in the firm that you can sit down and buddy with.
And honestly,
we have a community. But anyway, I'll stop there. But heck yes, let's talk about why.
Well, for the listener, I honestly have no idea how much it costs. I just pay George whatever he tells me. True story.
True.
Like, I think my wife actually, I can't remember what my stuff costs. I just pay it, right? I mean, and I refer a lot, but like at the end of the day,
Thank you. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you don't have time to figure this out on your own. You don't even have the ability currently for most of you to go to AI and figure it out. But I dare you. I dare you to go to a pro level like ChatGPT Plus, Perplexity Plus, and I want you to put in George Sandman, the growth driving advisor, 3 dimensions of growth. How could this methodology take my CPA firm from a traditional CPA firm losing market share to a vibrant advisory first CPA firm that has a waiting list? I dare you to put that text prompt in, because when you do, you're then going to go to is it growth dash drive? I don't even know. I just called George.
Growth-drive.com.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Do that, but go there and just buy a C3D subscription. Course for one of your senior people and watch what happens inside your firm.
Yes, I'm highly confident because we see it happen all the time. So thank you very much. This week's episode is brought to you by Growth Drive and the C3D certification. If you're looking to expand your reach and relevance with business owning clients, whether you're a business advisor or a wealth advisor, this is a certification for you. And after completing it, you will understand how to make profits and transferable value M&A price actionable, how to maximize results for your clients. So get the details at growthdrive.com/C3D, scan the QR code, register. Listen, this is the path to building a thriving advisory business based on delivering client wins. Mike.
Yeah, but we've exited the information is valuable age, and we have entered the ability to execute. Your CPA firm needs to transition from, and like you're still going to be assessing financials. Like that's not going away.
Heck yes.
But what you need to do is transition from, hey, I make sure the books are right, to I review and then provide guidance for my clients on what execution steps to drive. And what are the 3 things we want CPA firms driving, George?
Growing profits and cash.
Predictably
growing profits and cash. Predictable, sustainable growth. And predictable, transferable business value.
Yes.
Because imagine as a CPA, imagine CPAs listening to this, imagine talking to your client and educating them, right? You can't wag your finger, but educating them with a proven process that is going to help them understand that when they take a shareholder's view of their business, when they treat their business as an asset, they're going to come up with a bunch of realizations. 1, it's an underperforming asset. 2, that their future, this is why we attract so many exit planners, right? Strategic intent essentially always comes down to wealth and legacy, right? My ultimate intent, when we get out of the business, when you say, I want to grow to 2 million of profit, and I say why, if I ask why enough times, it's going to get to your family's health, well-being, the well-being of your stakeholders, et cetera. That is the core strategic intent of most CEOs. Ask us how we know 52,000 and counting CEO interviews.
More every day. So every day. I do have a layup for the CPAs. You ready? So like this has been kind of aggressive, but I want you to think. So first of all, George, just work with me on this. So if you're the leader or you're someone with influence, which could be anyone at a CPA firm, right? Because influence will vary. And you heard those 3 dimensions of growth, which are predictable predictable cash flow and net profit, predictable growth, predictable transferable exit value, right? If you heard that and you had any trepidation, well, number 1, that does not speak badly about you. That is not a negative reaction. That is, in my book, a safe driver, thoughtful response, which is why you should be number 1. And here's the deal. Now I want you to flip it. And I want you to think about all the other professionals that you, as a certified public accountant, right, with, let's say, average listener, 5 years or more experience.
Oh yeah, a heck of a lot more. Yeah.
Let's say if you're have a little trepidation, if you're a little concerned about that conversation about the three dimensions of growth and how to help your business owners execute, I want you to tell me of any other advisor that talks to that business owner that's more qualified to address that than you. You are the person that has the institutional role, the institutional training to be able to do the most important thing and tell that freaking business owner what is true, what is real. The other people are completely depending in almost all cases. There are some notable exceptions, but in almost all cases, every single other person interacting with that business owner is completely dependent upon your ability to tell them what's real.
The outputs of the engine. Heck yes, the outputs of the engine.
And so I'm going to make you a guarantee. If someone like me, right now, I've bought and sold a number of businesses. If I can become comfortable interacting with CEOs of 200, 500 million, $1 billion companies about helping them drive growth in those three areas, how much easier is it going to be for you? All you need is a pathway. You need a pathway to confidence. And the way to do that is C3D. I'm sure there are other ways to get that confidence. I don't know of them where I would guarantee them. Number one. Number two, the friction of expense, bringing in a consultant, the friction of time, how long does it take? Those, like, you are at an inflection point right now. We don't need to figure out how to make the buggy faster because the car is already faster.
Yes.
Right? We need to figure out how to make cars.
And by the way, and thank you, Mike. I appreciate your
much of a commercial, but like I'm really trying to encourage the CPAs.
And yes, and private equity is having, as we've suggested for a while, the first words in my blog article yesterday it was written about CPA firms and the impact that private equity is having on alternative practice structures. And the first words, and those of you CPA leaders out there who have interacted with me, you know, burn the boats. Burn the boats. PE is burning the boats. Go ahead, man.
So here's what, because you're nicer than I am, well, at least, anyways, we'll just go ahead.
Hey, you're a Green Beret.
Yeah, no, well, that doesn't mean I'm not nice. Like we need to
sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind, Mike.
We don't need to get into backgrounds, but here's what I would say to CPAs. Do you understand why P&E starts investing and buying in industry verticals? There's only one reason. It's because they perceive arbitrage.
Arbitrage, heck yes.
Right? And so please understand, back to my statement about there is no one better able to help clients execute. That doesn't mean you're going to do everything.
No, it's exactly but the strength of C3D, right? And of our community.
But the CPAs, like you guys have, and the P&E people know this. They know that you already have the ability to be the best business advisor on the planet, and that you really don't need anyone else to be the quarterback, that you're effectively able to do it. But they're playing off of antiquated business models. They're playing off of,
yes,
quite frankly, fantasies about how CPAs can't sell. Complete and utter bullshit, right? Like you just need to understand what good sales is, right?
Process, right?
They're rolling up your firms because they know that they can come in there and do what George and I are talking about on this podcast. Those P&E firms, some of which are going to take C3D as well.
Yeah, it's happening. That's right.
But those P&E firms are going to come in and do to your firm after they buy you out at a massive discount because they know what you could be. They are then going to do what we just said, George. They're going to do it in a year. They're going to 3 years after that sell it for probably 3x over what you're currently worth right now. And you don't need them. You don't need them. George, am I wrong?
You're right. In a nutshell. Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is what's interesting, Mike, and this is another segue. So you do this with wealth advisory firms and RIAs, right? You go in and you say, listen, we know how to help your clients increase the value of their businesses. And that is very important. And I'll let you, I'll suggest you talk about that. But we're going to increase the value of your firm through this
I'd
process.
love to do the CPA firm.
Yeah.
I just get so many referrals from financial advisors. It's like I
Well,
have
and that's
time
your
to help.
specialty. And
Yeah,
someone like Christine is
yeah.
an absolute stone cold expert at working with accounting firms, professional service generally, but accounting is her special strength. And she's fantastic. I've known her for 14 years, a good friend.
When she was 12, that's when you first met her.
Yeah, that's right. We were actually at you know what's funny? We were at a CPA valuation conference, and I had a giant banner that said, "Not a valuation tool." Hey, man, you want to drive traffic to the booth?
Right.
People cannot help it
But
in
guess
big red letters.
that's what makes clarity different. You're not fronting, to use an older term. I'm sure there's some new cool term. Millennials and younger people save the old man. But you're not saying, I'm doing a certified business valuation like a
Heck no.
CPA would.
Oh,
What you're
we're doing
saying
a
is
calculation of value. Yeah.
we're trying to establish reasonable parameters to make decisions about what to grow and what to work on.
And CPAs, let's talk a little bit in CPA terms. So, if we think about a business that has value, a business to have value has to demonstrate that it can predictably and sustainably grow FCF. Right?
Period.
That predictably and sustainably grow FCF, free cash flow for the uninitiated. Now, free cash flow is the output of the business engine. Who better to come in? And I would point out that in our methodology, only the CFO has as much accountability as the CEO, right? You are the dollar sign. No, forget dollar signs, the numbers, because a lot of numbers don't have dollars next to them.
Yeah.
You are the numbers equivalent of the CEO. CEO's fundamental role is to drive shareholder value. And I would ask you, accounting firms, do you want your role to continue to be tactical and transactional, or would you like your role, as it was and will be, because there are a lot of smart cookies
It
here,
will be.
you will become a strategic and transformational relationship services to privately held businesses, especially those with in the pre-middle market, middle market, like 2.5 million to 50 million, which is a lot of businesses. It's the first chart in my book, right? That is a lot of business and a profound impact on our country, and an impact. And this is something CPAs have had a profound, beneficial, indelible impact on business. And the service set has been driven to a place where it is no longer strategic, right?
Well, that's because
Not for everyone. I'm not making, I'm just making vast generalizations. Not for everyone. You may be listening to this saying, well, that's not me. Cool. Congratulations. And that means there's an especial, you're ahead of the curve.
well,
But
stop marketing like you're a vaccine, right? So most CPA firms market around protection, market around saving, right? By the way, I'm a business owner. I'm interested in saving on taxes,
yeah, but
but above that,
that's not inspiring.
is not going to jail, right?
Yep.
However, I'm a fly fishing guy. So the things that get me to take meetings with people I don't know, right, are conversations that demonstrate an understanding of how to grow my company.
Yes.
Not these horrible, like, hey, Mike, I noticed that you're a best-selling author in referrals and I want to help you. I want to sell you some leads. Really? Could we have a less effective intersection of value, right?
Yeah.
But I want you to think about that. Like, is your marketing around growth in your clients, or is it around being a vaccine, protecting them from the IRS, protecting them from audits and making like, because by the way, you're doing your job and protecting me and giving me the right information. That's table stakes.
Yeah,
That
that's a great
that
point.
that's table stakes. Like everyone's buying the freaking vaccine, right? What will get me to change why I have in the past done something very painful as a business owner, which is switch accounting firms. I did it because that dude, my guy, Micah Frame, is a freaking genius. And I trust him to tell me what things I should do to grow. The conversations I have with him are never about taxes. I just do whatever he says, right? Table stakes. I pay him. Honestly, don't know what he charges, George, because it's like you. It's an essential service. I just pay it, right? But the conversations I have with him once a quarter at a minimum are like, hey, Micah.
He's a cerebral dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's come to the Growth Drive Summit. He's got his CPA. Like, he doesn't like people, but like, Micah, I'm looking at these 5 different growth initiatives, all of which sound great. Which, from your perspective, do you feel like is the most credible, the most probable? That's why I'm never switching.
Yeah.
Talk about growth. And if you don't know how to talk about growth, send somebody to take a program about growth so that they can then embrace. You need that one evangelist inside your firm that is like, you know what? We are the number one advisor. You know what? We are the best of all these people. They're important. We're essential. And we are going to boom.
Yeah.
Not passionate ever.
I thoroughly, and it's going to be exciting to watch as the industry moves from getting picked off one by one, with wealth advisory firms buying. I was in the middle of closing. I had a regional CPA firm purchasing our services, our training, et cetera. And they were acquired by a wealth advisory firm who said, tut, we don't need any of that because you are now our tax dogs. That is not the relevance to which CPAs aspire.
Welcome to your air-conditioned and nicely appointed prison.
Yeah, that's a fair
I
point.
will take all of the equity growth.
Yeah,
it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen. No. And I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think accounting as a profession has a very bright future. I love the fact that accounting, it's private equity pressure, but there are plenty of firms out there that are adding these services to inoculate themselves against PE, to compete against private equity firms. Like people, some of them are great, fantastic, principled, and some of them.
And we know some.
And then there's a spectrum.
Yeah.
And what's cool, you made the point, but private equity operators are finding Growth Drive. Now, if private equity operators, think about what their role is. If those operators are using a system that we are fortunate enough to provide, what does that say? I mean, let's go back to arbitrage. What does that suggest? And might that be a good idea? Okay, I don't want to get into infomercial. I wanted to talk about this issue.
One last thing. You ready?
Please.
If you're the owner of a CPA firm or you have a friend that is, and this is really important, what would happen if we put into Perplexity, for example? I'm just going to do it now, George. Real quick.
Go ahead.
Why are so many P&E firms
I think if you use PEG, P-E-G, that'll probably get you a better.
PEG, P-E-G?
Yep.
Oh, private equity growth. I'm just doing a search just for that on Perplexity.
Survey says
PE firms are rapidly acquiring CPA and accounting firms due to a convergence of financial, strategic, and industry-specific factors that make these businesses especially attractive investments. Steady recurring revenue, recession resistance, and economic resilience, industry fragmentation, and roll-up opportunities.
Yep.
Here's what they're really saying. You don't know how much value your firm actually has. They're only going to buy you because they know that you have everything necessary with slight guidance to be able to make you a lot more valuable, but they'll then sell you.
And taking your brand and starting an alternative practice structure in which they're jamming a bunch of growth drivers, a bunch of business advisors who are poised to help clients. And that's the thing, delivering client wins, right? Delivering client wins. So if you are not in the business of delivering client wins, and the tax savings feels good, but it's not a win. Now, creating a tax structure with collaborating with an attorney through which I'm going to pay the minimum required by law if and when I choose to sell my business. Now we're cooking with gas. Let's get hey, I'm going to tell one quick story. And then you and I actually are going to then hang up here and jump into the Summit Planning Committee meeting, Growth Drive Summit, October 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2025. And
not Mike.
Listen, be there, be square. And anyway, listen, let's talk about Mike Desiato. Like, you are the CEPA of the year 2024, CEPA. That's an exit planning designation. Great. Congratulations. Deserved. Mike Desiato is the Growth Drive Member of the Year. He came from a very senior role at Cherry Decker, right? Venerable accounting firm. And while he was still at Cherry Decker, he started getting into providing profit and value growth services. He is also an exit planner. He holds 2 designations, the CEXP from BEI and the CEPA from EPI. Great. Now, why did Mike Desiato, a consummate pro, this guy came and he asked me before he joined the community, George, if I do what you're suggesting, what you're telling me to do, am I going to be able to win engagements and deliver client wins? My words, not his. And I said, yes, Mike, with a knot in my stomach, because that's an awesome responsibility, right? And I said, yes, Mike. And Mike is knocking the leather off the ball. So he has gone from being a traditional CPA, a very successful one, to being a very successful growth advisor, growth driver, business advisor, whatever you want to call it. He is doing using the knowledge, tools, and support from this community. I know that sounds like a shameless commercial. I don't mean it to be. I'm trying to say, you can come in here cold, and we've got you, man. We are here and so deeply committed to your success. Ask anyone who needs help.
This is
I'm on speed dial.
Hey, let us know questions, comments, concerns. Hit us up. We really care about this. We know we can't do it on our own.
Yes. And please post comments here, and you can always email. Man, both Mike and I are very public figures. You can find my cell phone in my LinkedIn profile. You have a question, you want to chat, or you want to yell at me, I'll give you Mike's number if you want to yell. But
bring it.
We're here and we're happy to help. And that's all it comes down to.
My love language is conflict. Let's go. Hi, man.
All right, man. 3 minutes to the next meeting. Thanks, Mike. Always great. And I will talk to you very soon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by the Growth Drive Summit. Our theme this year is building a profitable advisory business. Join us in Charleston, South Carolina, October 6th, 7th, and 8th. Expand your network, learn new skills, and generally have a good time. This is a top-rated event. We're looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Hi, this is George. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, you can subscribe, like, and please take 2 seconds to leave a review. It tells the world that you like what we're doing, and it helps us understand how we can improve the show. Thank you, and see you next time.